Thank you. I'd like to call to order the Education, Technology, and Policy Committee meeting for Tuesday, March 19th. Let the record show that I'm here as chair, Mr. Dehart as member, and it'll be between Mr. Dehart and I to approve things tonight. Also, present is Dr. Kluche, Dr. Trahan, Mr. Voisin, and Mr. Crowdis.
And Mr. Ford.
Is he coming in or is he leaving? He brought all his stuff. I think he's leaving.
Oh, I didn't know.
I think
I'm
he's
sorry.
leaving, yeah.
I was trying to help.
Also members of the staff. First item is consideration of a revision of policy file D-3.6, gifts and bequests. This is a forethought recommendation, and Ms. LaRose, would you like to comment on that first?
Sure. It is a forethought recommendation, and the only change to the policy is that we are required to post all donations, whether it's, anything from school to the district, we have to post them on our website.
Yep.
And so, Becky Bro has already put out a Google form to all of our principals. They've been working on it, and compiling that. It's not just money, it's anything, and it's
Yes.
athletics, it's band, it's beta, it's any donation, even a teacher. And it has to be public knowledge on our website.
Okay.
So that will be posted
and
soon.
Are they aware of that, like parents and such are aware of these things?
No.
Probably not.
So when they do donate, and it's inappropriate or we can't take it, the principal or the teachers would know?
Oh, yes. Yeah, this is not like little personal donations. It would be like if someone donated some PE equipment to your school
I
or
see.
that kind of thing.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
Mr.
moved,
DeHart?
I moved the motion.
Moved by Mr. DeHart, second by myself. Public comment? Mr. DeHart, do you have any other comments?
The only thing the parents is gonna find out after they communicate, or anybody donates things to the school, they'll find out then.
Yeah, it's not a secret.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no, I
Right.
know.
So
But
we
it's a
just-
good thing to
Right, we wanna
advertise
make
it
them
and
aware
make it
of it.
aware. Yeah.
Any other board members? Yes, Mr.
So this basically just puts us in compliance with the Board of Ethics, basically is all it does.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay. Okay, any objections? Hearing none, so moved. And by the way, I correct myself, Mr. Ford was not leaving. I thought
Yeah,
you
I was
were
just
with your
gonna talk
cup and all of that,
outside,
so you took all your stuff, so I thought you were leaving, so please mark him present.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. LaRose. Number 3, consideration of approval to authorize an interagency agreement between Terrebonne Parish Schools and Terrebonne ARC or TARC. Mr. Blaise Pellegrin, you want to give us some information about
I
this
sure
first?
will. We're very excited about this opportunity for our students with both significant and moderate disabilities to be able to go into some of the TARC industries and get some job skills. So they're going to open up the Cajun Confection and their thrift stores.
Awesome.
And we're going to try to create a program with our teachers and students to be able to go in high school and learn how to sort clothes, hang clothes, work retail, and then also work in the food industry.
That's
So
awesome.
we think it's going to be a great opportunity. And look, it's only going to be the first step. TARC has that environment, that supportive environment that we're looking for to start this, but we're going to be looking for some other businesses to jump on board too.
Thank you. So the recommendation is that the committee recommend that the board approve and accept the interagency agreement between Terrebonne Parish School Board and Terrebonne ARC or TARC for an intern program for the 24-25 school year with the option to renew said contract annually and further authorize the superintendent to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. DeHart, second by myself. Any public comment? Mr. DeHart?
No, ma'am?
Any
I
board
think
members?
it's a good thing.
Okay, yes, Mr. Ford.
So I was excited when I saw this come up because when I taught Severe Profound last year at Thibodeau High, one of the struggles we had was making these connections and setting up these jobs, the community-based learning. So we had an agreement with Granier's out there in Thibodeau, and they were very accommodating, but they would only take a certain number of kids and certain behaviors. And then we had some that went to Rouse's, some of the higher functioning kids. But then there was a group of kids, majority of mine, that we didn't have anywhere to go. So I actually connected with the Thibodeau Fire Department, and we would go once a week and clean up the fire department. They use it as an event hall. But having this connection already, setting it up with the teachers, for the teachers, or at least getting something in motion is gonna be such a benefit for them, because that's one of the hardest things is, you know, everyone says that they wanna help and everyone says they wanna be a part of the process, but when it comes down to it and you call on them, we had an agreement with Emil's Furniture. I think it's Emil's, the one that's in the mall now, same thing, yeah, in Thibodeau. We lasted half a day over there, and, you know, my kids were, you know, they're highly autistic, very vocal, and they were, you know, kind of a little rowdy at times, and they just didn't welcome us after that. So it was kind of discouraging because, you know, August through September, we made those plans. October 1st was our first day of CBL. We were actually going out there, and we got sent home that same day. So at least with TARC, they know what they're getting. They
Right.
know what to expect, so.
You need the right
And-
fit,
And we're
for
also
sure.
working with them to try, like I said, to find some other community partners, because they're doing the same thing for older adults,
Yes.
to try and help them find community-based employment.
That's great. The superintendent had some, you want, okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Dr. Pucci.
Thank you. Just as a point of information for me, you know, when these kids are under our care, their teachers and administrators are watching over them. And as we do this transference or working together, will they be under the direction of the TARC supervisors? Or are we sending people
Good-
with them? Or
No,
how's
good
that?
question. We are sending people with them.
Okay.
It'll either be a teacher or a para. It'll be small groups to start with. Like I said, we're just getting our feet wet with this.
Right.
And what's gonna happen is TARC is gonna train our staff. So our staff is actually gonna be coaching them
Awesome.
and working with them based on the expectations of TARC with their own clients.
Right. And another question, I know TARC also has a lawn service too. Are our kids going to be working with that area as well?
I don't know if we'll get out into that just yet.
No.
We'll stick with food service and retail first.
Okay. Very good, thank you.
Superintendent.
We do have a representative from TARC here with us, Ms. Erica Pellegrin, so she's been very instrumental in coordinating with our supervisor here on this project. So thank you for being here, Ms. Erica.
Thank you. Any other board members? Yes, Mr. DeHart.
I'd just like to make a positive comment. TARC has done such a wonderful job with the employees that are there. And I tell you what, whenever you offer, but right now the rule is you can't give a tip. Whenever you'd offer a tip, the most valuable thing that they appreciated was, oh, you're doing a good job. And I tell you what, everybody has a job to do, and they do it very well. So hopefully we can adapt to that, and I'm not joking, improve TARC. It's hard to improve something that don't have any problems, but guess what? The bigger the group, the better, because I tell you what, that place is really busy, and it's because of the service and the food. And I said service first. Thank you.
Mr. Ford.
Yeah, so now that I knew Ms. Erica's here, I'm gonna make a statement. So 20 years ago, fall of 2003, I was a senior at Nichols in my undergrad. I was a mass comm public relations major, and we did a PR campaign for TARC. And I actually created their logo, and I still have all the photos that I took, over 500 photos of their clients and people within the community there. And so I've longed for the opportunity to work with them again and do something. You know, life took me in a different direction, and I've done several different things since then, but I still have that connection. I had a cousin who was a client there when he was younger, and he's passed since then, but, so I've always had a connection with TARC. So I'm telling you, on the record, if you need anything, even if it's to initiate another PR campaign, to get some information out there, to get people aware of what's going on and what we're doing, then I'm your guy, right? Give me a call. I'm not asking for royalties. You know, they did change up the logo just so they didn't have to use my intellectual property, but it was my design, it was my concept, so I'm proud to say that I'm glad that they've stuck with it, and I'd like to be a part of this, if at all possible.
I think
Thank
you
you.
ought to print the photos you did and
I can
frame
show you
them and
right
put them
here.
on the wall.
I have them. I have them all on my Google Drive. Yep.
All right, thank you, Mr. Blaze. Oh, any objections from the committee members? Okay, so moved. Number 4, consideration of approval of the use of Robert's Rules of Order as a consent agenda. I'm bringing this up, and you can change the title from president to chair. on there. So the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the use of a consent agenda, also known by Robert's Rules of Order as consent calendar. Groups routinely use this meeting, this form to, for meeting discussion points in a single agenda item. In doing so, the grouped items can be approved in one action rather than through the filing of multiple motions. And I'll preface this by saying I attended a Robert's Rules of Order session at the recent school board conference, and was quite enlightened by several things that were there. And you know, we did this several years ago when I was president of the board. We had someone come in, Dr. Manso, to kind of instruct us. I didn't realize this, but that LSBA does Robert's Rules to, you know, offers that to the boards throughout the state if they want that training. So we have that. But I also think that it's important to brush up on that every year, because all of us don't know all of the ins and outs of Robert's Rules. We have the books, but from what I learned at this meeting, we don't always follow the procedures of Robert's Rules the way that we should. For instance, one thing is we do not have to get a motion to close a meeting. Whoever's chairing the meeting just says close, just like Dane said tonight. That's all we need to do. But this is a consent agenda. It's to be more efficient in managing our meetings. And what it does is all of the requirements of this agenda, all of the recommendations on a particular agenda is grouped into one, so that when we get to the board meeting, it's approve this whole agenda. Now, any board member, if they want to, can pull any item separately out of that. They just have to say, I want this item pulled, so that we vote on it separately. Now, the superintendent asked me to find out whether or not the public could pull an item. The public cannot pull an item. It's only voting members, but a board member can pull an item on behalf of the public. So if they know that the public is concerned about one of the items, they can pull that. So that's basically it. Do I have a recommendation?
Not for me.
You're not going to move it?
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Any,
Totally against it.
okay. So it dies? I'll try to bring it forth another time. Okay. Next is the matter pertaining to departmental messages in a minute. And first we have District 7 large ensemble festival results and World Autism Day. Ms. LaRose?
Okay, first I will do the ratings for the District 7 assessment. All of our bands are required to do that. We made that a mandate for this year. We figured marching season is over, they're finished practicing, so bands and choirs from the end of November until now work on their concert pieces and they prepare for assessment. And basically what that is they went to H.L. Bourgeois, H.L. sponsored all of the bands, not just Terrebonne Parish, but from all of the surrounding areas, everybody in District 7. And there are judges there, they perform their 3 pieces and they get rated. So on your tabletop, we have a copy of, it's the red and blue, and it's all of their ratings for the band members and the choirs. So that's for your perusal. And then, any questions on that? It's just to share it with you. And then also, we wanted to let you know that one of our teachers in our district reached out to the parish council and asked if that we could celebrate Autism Awareness Month for the month of April. And so we are going to be working in conjunction with the parish government, and we are all going to wear blue on April the 19th. April the 2nd is actually Autism Day for the whole nation, but because we're out for the Easter break, we're going to celebrate it on the 19th. So we're asking all of you to wear your blue and walk around in the community and spread the word. So there is a little flyer for that, and we're sharing that with all of our parents and schools throughout the district.
Great. Ask Ramona to send us an email on April the 18th reminder.
Okay, to remind y'all. And also on March 27th, we are going to go to the parish council meeting to represent the district when they actually do that proclamation.
Awesome.
If any of you want to join, come on and join us.
Thank you. Okay, next we have district-wide transfers. Dr. Yobo?
Good evening. In the next 2 weeks, probably, we'll be starting district-wide transfers. Even though we will go into the Easter break, I still have the ability to put out the vacancy list so that employees can start contacting principals, sending emails to request interviews, so that process can run smoothly. And I'll make sure that y'all get a copy of the vacancy list. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Letter of intent, no, that's gonna happen before or after this. which you
Letters of
propose.
intent has happened already.
It happened already?
Yes, sir.
I
Letters
just
of
want, I
intent.
didn't know the timing.
Yeah, letters of intent has happened already.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
we start with the school's letters of
good.
intent, yeah, so
That's
that has been done already.
I just wanna make sure we still solid in the process that was.
Oh, yes, we still follow that
Yes,
process.
thank you.
And even though they
Yes.
sent letters of intent, once they see the vacancy list, they may see something else that they're
Oh, yes,
interested
ma'am.
in and they have the liberty
Yes, ma'am.
to
Miss-
apply for it.
Thank you. Mr. Voisin?
The vacancy list went out yet, or is it?
No, the vacancy list will go out once we've finished some changes that we're making. So once we finish some, and almost every other day, you get somebody that decided to retire or something like that. So the vacancy list, this vacancy list, you will not see posted on the website because it is only for our employees. So I will email it out to every employee at every school. It will be sent, email will be sent to them. Well, I'm hoping that we can get it out
Okay.
by the end of next week, or if not, the beginning of the next week, even though we'll be on Easter break, I can still send that information out. And so employees will have, even though they're on break, they can be looking and seeing what they may be interested in and begin contacting principals for interviews. With technology now, principals don't have to wait to do face-to-face. In person, a lot of times they'll set up Zoom meetings, which helps a lot with getting that stuff done.
You good?
And Dr. Yobert,
Uh,
Mr. Waz, if you don't mind, we're trying to coordinate this with all of the administrative moves and appointments. So once teachers realize who's in place, that might
Yes.
change their mind as to where they want to transfer.
Yeah.
So we want to kind of get that, and Doc's going to move forward with
Right.
that item.
I just had a couple of teachers' questions.
Yeah. Yeah, and once we finish that process and we come up with a new vacancy list, that is open to everybody in the district, out of the district, and that will be posted on the district website.
Mr. Ford?
So in the past, we had to wait, or I say we, uncertified teachers with bachelor's degree had to wait until July 1st before they could be considered. Now that we adopted the associate's teacher program, is there going to be a gap between bachelor's degree uncertified and associate's degree uncertified, or can they all be considered as July 1st?
We have not technically adopted the associate degree program. We've not begun that. The program that we have started with is the program where paras who are interested in becoming certified teachers, we're working with those. We have a lot of our teachers now that have become practitioners, And so they get a certificate from the State Department, and we treat them as certified teachers because all they're having to do is finish, usually just their internship. Those persons that are not at that stage, they still have to wait. So no uncertified person is on rosters at this time or will be on rosters during the district-wide transfers. And we do that to encourage people to get to that, at least that practitioner level.
So you just said something that conflicted or contradicted what we decided as a board, and I'm not saying that we're wrong, I'm saying we were maybe misled whenever we voted last month for the Associate's Teacher Program, the adoption thereof. We were under the assumption that, you know, it would be treated, or there was no verbiage in there saying that bachelor's degree, uncertified, associate's degree, uncertified, but it said that we were adopting what the state had put out as legislation saying that we could hire associate's degree individuals as teachers on an as-needed basis, and so you're telling me we're not doing that?
We have not begun that.
Why not?
Because, well, there's several things that go with that. Along with going with, if we decide to do associate degrees, then you gotta develop a salary scale. It's not just we develop, you know, we doing this, it's a process to doing it. And at this time, I feel like we're going to be in a position where we may not really need that.
Well, the only reason I ask is because districts like Lafourche have decided not to adopt the program. So that's why I want to make sure there's a clear distinction, not just for us on the board, but for anybody who's watching this meeting or hears about it. Where's the line drawn, like,
Well,
to make sure they
when I've
understand?
I've had people call and ask about it, and I told them at this point, we have not gone that route because we feel secure in what we've been able to establish with people going as far as getting the practitioner license. And the next step for them is full certification, and that has been working very well for us. I think a lot of our uncertified teachers realize now that, you know, we're gonna keep pushing, that they need to show us that they want to become a certified teacher one day, and not that just every year they can sit back, oh, they're gonna need me and somebody's gonna give me a job. So we're making it tough for them.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, Mr. Dehart?
Just another question related to some of the dialogue y'all speaking right now. I thought in years past that somebody that took the practice and passed the practice was considered by the state certified and had to continue their process. Am I wrong? Passing the practice.
Okay, there were different stages.
Okay,
If a person, at one time, the state required teachers to do a Praxis 1
yes, ma'am.
and a Praxis 2.
Okay,
And so if they pass the reading and the math part of Praxis 1, they would be eligible to get what was called a temporary authority to teach, attached certificate. Didn't make them
Okay.
certified.
okay, well,
If they pass Praxis 1 and Praxis 2,
then
they could get what's called a practitioner license.
okay, that's
If
what
they're enrolled in a certification program in a university or alternative program in Louisiana.
I didn't know about the 1 and 2.
Yeah,
I
well,
knew the same thing you said about after that.
right.
That's
And-
what I understood.
And right now,
Yes.
the state has decided that if a person has a 4-year degree,
Okay.
then they should be able to teach some math and some basic reading and
Oh, yeah,
should not
yeah,
have to take a Praxis 1. So now they're only requiring that they take a content area, a
Okay.
Praxis 2,
Okay.
content area, PLT, and be enrolled in a certification
Thank
program.
you for clearing that up for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Boyd sent you one more question, I
Okay.
think.
Okay, yeah, and I kind of spoke with her about it, and I'm thinking that hopefully we don't need those type of teachers because of our salary increase and encouraging other people coming here, which should be, is that showing that we're having a lot of that movement from other places coming here, certified teachers?
We've gotten applications in from other
Okay.
districts, from other areas.
Better
And
than
not
it-
just Lafourche, we've had people, I say as far as Lafayette and other places, that have put applications
So
in.
it's been a good
It has been a
turnover.
good thing
Okay,
for them
okay,
to see
good,
what the salary will be.
Fantastic.
Anybody else?
The reason they put it on the website too, the teacher scale.
Yes.
Right, right.
Being a good teacher instead of just coming for the money.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. York.
Okay, thank you.
Next is my ascension presentation, Mr. Talbert.
Yeah, thank you. Building on the momentum that we have from the Talk Cop situation, working in conjunction with Ms. DeGrees and her department, Ms. Mandy Gilliott, they contacted us in CWA several weeks ago that the My Ascension program, what it does is that it's not necessarily a happy topic, I guess, but it is something that has affected quite a few families in our community, not only in our schools. But My Ascension spearheads or targets Emma Benoit, who is actually from Dutchtown area. She attempted suicide several years ago, and she survived it, but then she turned it into as her media stuff says, it turns it into a positive message, trying to get the word out there to because if you look at her, she looks like what every daughter you would hope, cheerleader, involved in quite a bit and things like that, and then tried to commit suicide. But she turned it into a positive message to try to get the word out. There is help for people and things like that. So on March 27th at 5:30 over at H.L. Bourgeois, they'll do a presentation of her documentary, but also she'll be on hand to answer Q&A kind of thing. But we also have members of the community in the mental health side of things. We have commitments from Chabert. I think we committed or have one from Terrebonne as well at this point. Various other organizations affiliated with mental health that are going to set up for information purposes. It is open to 7th graders and above. Unfortunately, we had a suicide when I was a principal at Evergreen. So, I mean, it does affect younger kids too.
So that's going out to all the schools, that junior high and
Yes,
high
ma'am.
schools?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Through the efforts of our media department, our data department, they've helped us get out the word through J calls, as well as through the efforts of Mandy and Ms. DeGrees' staff, putting together the flyers, things like that, to get it out there. And the schools have taken it and advertised it as much as they can.
Sounds good. Yeah, Mr.
What
DeHart.
about Ochners? I know they're part of the other hospital.
Yeah, as far as I know, and
Strawberry.
maybe Mr. Crowdis can maybe correct me on that, but as far as I know, isn't Chabert part affiliated with Oxnard as well?
Yes, yes.
So, yes, I talked to Mr. Shane Robichaud. Fortunately, his kids came through South Terrebonne, so
Right.
and so I talked to him not long ago, and I believe he's your director out there, right? Or
Right.
CFO or whatever, Shane Robichaud, yeah.
Okay,
So he's already put us in contact with his side of things, where, yes, sir.
good. Thank
And
you.
then, like I said, we've been in contact with Terrebonne General, various groups with the Department of Health, that local, regional stuff.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Talbot.
Yep, thank you.
Next is the iReady math curriculum for the next school year. Ms. Volkline?
If you look, I gave everybody a flyer. We are adopting a new math program for next school year called iReady. It is going to be replacing Eureka Square. Yeah, I know, you're excited. The
Yay.
state now has more Tier 1 options for us in math, and we looked at several, and iReady to us, Ms. LaRose and all of us agree that this is more of a traditional type of math curriculum. All those strategies that Eureka kind of, teach them all, that it doesn't do that. It gives you a strategy that the child learns. There are online resources for families. There are even videos for new teachers that teach them how to teach the lesson before they teach the lesson. So we see a lot of benefits in it. Has assessments. Everything can go in Spanish as well. So we're really excited about this new program.
And parents could probably help their kids with math
Absolutely,
again.
absolutely. It has a lot of parent resources. If you look, it even, parents can start looking, when we send these home, they can start looking at the free online things that they have already.
I think that's great.
K to 8.
K to 8.
Yeah, can't mess with high school,
Mr. DeHart?
Kim, you see, you mentioned that there's, Spanish, teaching in Spanish. What about French?
Not sure if I don't think French, no.
We got a lot of French descended
Yeah,
students.
but I think the French our students teach is more of a Cajun French. It
Yes.
wouldn't be the French.
I know, we
that-
used to have Canadian, from Canada, and it was it
Mm-hmm.
was close, but it was different.
Yeah, but no, it does not provide that.
I would just ask, because I'm
Okay.
gonna probably be asked about it
Okay,
down the road. I was just curious.
I understand.
Mr. Voisin?
So I'm assuming it is gonna align with the standards.
Oh, absolutely. Everything. It's going to have assessment resources for LEAP. It's going to be totally correlated with Louisiana math standards. It looks really, really, yes.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I know. Mr. Crowdis?
Yeah, I just wanted to say also that, yeah, I'm extremely excited about this change. In a previous board meeting, I went over some statistics at, you know, the national level when it comes to some of these national exams, and math by far was our lowest, and it's the lowest that it's ever been.
Yeah, everywhere.
And, you know, it directly correlates with the timing of whatever math that was that we were trying to teach. So
I
I'm
agree.
very excited to go back to a more traditional
I
math.
agree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And one more thing, want to remind you, I know Ms. Ramona sent all of you the flyer. We are having the Saints at Houma Junior High on Thursday, 1 o'clock to 2. I don't know what Saints are going to show up. I'm thinking it's not going to be Kamara, but it's going to be a really nice thing. And it starts at 1, and it'll be till 2, and they'll do some rotation. All of you are absolutely invited.
Thank you.
Next school year, the beginning of next school year. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, just to add on to what Kim presented here. So, you know, Mr. Voisin, we listen to board members, and we listen to parents, and we listen to teachers. Matter of fact, we surveyed teachers, and we asked them, are you willing to look at something else? Probably 75% around that said yes. We still had some Eureka, you know, lovers.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
they still,
Go backs.
but
Eureka Love.
overwhelmingly, they are willing and wanted to change. So just this was a lengthy process. Sarah Adams and Angel Bageron and staff, Sandra and staff, we had teachers come in. We had all these curriculum companies put out samples of their materials. We let teachers come in, review it, give us input, and actually vote. And iReady was not everyone's favorite, but the majority's favorite. So back to what we said earlier, it's traditional math. And what you said, Ms. Benoit, is one of the main reasons why I think I felt such a need to push is we lost probably 15,000 tutors at home in the form of parents because they couldn't help. And they had really given up on us. They gave up. They were really just put out and couldn't help. So we really lost a lot of support in more ways than one. So I'm excited as much as you are to kind of make this transition, and it's time.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, You know, in the younger grades with the iMath, iReady, I think, you know, it's going to be pretty easy transition-wise. But as you get into the older grades, how long should we think or expect before we see these kids that have been taught one way, now they're going to be taught another way? Are we thinking it's going to take 1 year or 2 years or 3 years for them for this to make, you know, make a change, make an improvement?
I asked Ms. LaRose the same question when I found out about this iReady program. She can answer.
Yes, we don't think it's gonna take long to see the difference. We're really excited about it, like Ms. Vogtland said, because we've been looking for a couple of years, but nothing else was tier 1. And so now we had all of these options. So we only put tier 1 materials out for them to vote on. This one, when you open the book, and we have samples if you guys want to look at them. When you open it, you're gonna look and you're gonna say, this is the way that we were taught math. It's problems, there's sample problems, then there's problems with white space on the page. It's not all kinds of hoopla, and it's just, if you're learning long division, it's the steps for doing long division. It's not 5 different strategies. And Eureka Math in itself wasn't a bad program at all. What we're hearing is it was a confusing program. It showed different strategies so that no matter how you learn, there was something there for you, but then when you talk to kids, they were like, it's just too much. I mean, I understood it, I thought, and then you taught it 3 different kind of ways, and now I'm all confused. So the new program is going to eliminate all of those strategies that confused kids and teachers, and obviously parents
And
too.
obviously parents,
Parents, who weren't educators. So we don't think that it is going to be long. I think everybody's gonna jump in and they're gonna embrace the fact that teachers who learn this even, 20 years ago, they're gonna be teaching it the way they learned it. So,
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Oh, Mr. Ford?
Well, I mean, Ms. LaRose, you can go.
I'm
sit.
good?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I will say that even though I was part of a panel that evaluated Eureka years ago, it's a horrible program. It was made for high school kids, and then they tried to bring it down to the lower levels to build them up, but it's, as a math teacher, as a math theorist, I'm ecstatic that we're getting away from Eureka. But to answer your question, Dr. Kluche, a lot of the parents are going to be excited about that too. So I think their level of excitement and their willingness to engage and to help their kids is going to help fill some of those gaps. And it's going to build excitement with the kids. And they're going to be able to experience a little bit of success here and there, and that's going to build some momentum. It's nothing against the leadership here in this district, but I've been saying it for years. We need to get away from Eureka. Not because I had a problem with so-and-so or just, the way it was designed or the fact that it was a money grab for most states and it was from New York and it was very liberal in sense the way that it was made and it was more of strategies and less math theory and less math application. But just because it was overcomplicated. Mathematics is something that I've loved my entire life. I've dedicated a lot of my life to it, and I just want other people to have that same level of enthusiasm. And I know you guys won't, but Eureka surely made it hard for me to get other kids, the younger kids, excited. And quite frankly, I was tired of getting the phone calls and text messages asking me to tutor their kids. I don't mind tutoring at all, but whenever I found out it was Eureka, most of the time I would say, oh, I got something going on, and now I'm going to be opening up for more tutoring, I think, but just not Eureka. Thank you.
Great. Okay, and our final presentation tonight is ACT and Work Keys Boot Camp, Mr. Darrell Dillard.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Since we are currently in the ACT testing window right now, all of last week, all of this week, high schools are ACT testing. Each high school has implemented a ACT boot camp and a Work Keys boot camp. So they have made some intentional efforts to address the ACT index so that they can raise the ACT index. Currently, we range anywhere from a 61.8 to an 83.1, anywhere from a C to a B among our 4 high schools. So they're making some intentional strategies to address that problem. The boot camps last anywhere from 2 to 3 days. Some schools have targeted 11th and 12th graders. Some schools selected them, who they wanted to go attend the boot camp for ACT and Work Keys. Some schools allow students to sign up if they had an interest in doing so. 10th graders are also given an opportunity if there was space left after the 11th and 12th graders. I think the average size of the classes were about 30 kids. We had about 98 students from H.L. Bourgeois that actually volunteered to attend. Last year they had about 110, so even though 2 different years, one was selected, one was volunteer, about the same number of kids took advantage of it. South Terrebonne had about 155 students sign up. Ellender had 200 students sign up. Ellender selected their kids based on their previous ACT scores and the encouragement they did when they met with each student individually to talk about their scores. And Terrebonne had about 64 students. So on an average of about 129 students per school allows students from 10th through 12th grade to participate in not only an ACT boot camp, but also the Work Keys boot camp. because WorkKey scores could merge into the ACT score, which will impact the school performance score. So same process, same number of kids for both ACT and WorkKeys. They had in-person representatives from Mastery Prep conducting these boot camps. They did whole group, small group, test practice, and tutoring skills. So all four principals have given me some positive feedback on the enthusiasm of the kids, how engaged the kids were, how well behaved the kids were, and they believe it's going to make an impact in the student score.
So these students have already taken the ACT once?
Some, yes.
Okay.
Your juniors are mandatory to take it,
Yeah.
but you also had seniors that have taken it before
Okay.
that want to improve their score.
So are we going to do anything to track whether or not those students that have taken it before have increased in scores based on the boot camp?
Yes, ma'am. Each high school has a system in place to track that.
Okay, that's great. I'm anxious to see if it works. That's awesome. Mr. DeHart?
With 4 high schools, and I'm not picking on any one, but you have one of them that's very low compared to the other 3. We're working on that, but there's some reason, I don't know.
Well, keep in mind that you have different student populations. HL has the largest population.
Oh, I knew that. I knew
Other schools have smaller populations, so I think the percentages are pretty close. And some schools require, and some schools allow them to choose. So I think the population size versus students that were interested in getting a higher score.
Okay, I
Make the
just wanted to make
difference.
sure that the criteria was used to try and encourage kids to participate.
Yes, sir.
At all 4 high schools.
Absolutely, yes,
And no
sir.
matter which one would be low, I would say the same thing.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Forsan?
So the people doing the boot camp, that's outside trainers?
Yes.
So it's not our teachers?
Not for the boot camp, it's not our teachers.
Okay.
In the classrooms, doing bell ringers, embedded into your
Right, that's
CTE
what your
courses,
teachers, right.
those are our teachers.
Right. And you said it's a 2-day training?
2 to 3 days, yes.
And do they do that over the weekends, or how they're doing?
It's during the school day.
During the school day?
Yeah, it's usually from about 8 to 10, 8 to 12, somewhere around that time.
All right. Okay. That's good. It's a good program. Hopefully it does well.
For the kid.
I think federal kind of paid for the setup. I don't know if there is a cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've assumed the responsibility.
What is that, Title I or? Title IV, okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Tillett.
Motion to adjourn?
No, we're adjourned.